Hello and welcome back to the stream. I am Junchan and we are back with our work on the Purescript prototype that's built on top of the Chronofold data structure, which we worked on earlier in this series. And we did a little detour by sort of digging pretty deep into the Purescript SDOM library in the past 3 streams. And it's a bit of an experimental library, right? And so I kind of had to go around some of its, some of basically what I couldn't properly figure out is either a inherent limitation or just the fact that I don't quite know yet how to do this style of programming, but I did find a way to basically create some effectful state transitions, and that should unlock us. And so we are now back into the track of working on the prototype. So let me do a little bit of how do you say? Just is it house cleaning? That doesn't sound right. Housewarming, neither. Around the 25th. So let me duplicate this to 25th, and this prototype here also. Okay. So let me show you how I get around the problem that we had. I basically added in the SDOM library in the attach function, which is sort of the you could say the top level function that makes the library go. I added this EF component, which is of type model to effect model. And it's kind of like, I think it's more or less like a React hook. I think a React hook can actually do something to the model before rendering. We haven't gone that route. No, we did go that route. We do return the F model as the new model. So there's a choice here, but we basically not only apply the model to model state change function, the pure state change function that's part of the library, but we also pass a model to effect model top level function that can act on state. And the current implementation here is basically, I think, like a React hook, where we actually get the old model, apply the F function, and then apply the EF function on that, and return the model modified by the EF function. And we use this. So it could be that, this is a workaround for now. I might actually just go to a React-based library, which I'm a little bit more used to. And even though the Purescript React Basic libraries are a bit in flux these days, but how we use it so far is by passing this F function here that takes care of sending operations when operations are available in the ops field of the state record. So it's a bit like a queue of things to send. So we could imagine that we actually just accumulate here a number of ops. So there might be a more efficient way to do this, and that might be some future work for the library when we get back to the library. But because, we basically, if we could derive operations, if we could store here like a point in time at which we stop sending, and then be able to recreate operations from that last index, then that would probably be more memory efficient. So yeah, an operation for later, but let me write this down as something for the library. So we had a few ideas here. Yeah, APIs and maybe optimization. Instead of storing a queue of ops when offline, can we store an index and recreate ops? Okay. So this might be sufficient for this level of the prototype so far. The thing that needs to be done now is to hook up the actual socket pipe that we created. So let me first of all launch actually pm run parser will do here, and then we can do npm run hs here for the hyperswarm library. While this happens, let me also say something else, which is more, again, housekeeping. That's the term I was looking for earlier. I am going to dial down on the number of streams per week, because right now I'm doing 6 streams per week. And well, although that was a good way to kind of get started and motivated and find a rhythm and discipline in streaming, given that I've also started a full-time job at the beginning of the year, I think this is a little bit too much. So I'm going to go for half the number of streams per week, so that's still 3 streams per week. And so that will mean a Purescript stream, a Haskell stream, and then a more like streaming tooling stream. And what I'm planning to do is do one on Tuesday, do the Purescript stream on Tuesdays, the Haskell stream on Thursday, and the streaming tool one on the Saturday. And I might, game after this one. I didn't do that this Saturday, which is when I started realizing that having a little break to do my stuff would be quite nice. Yeah, so that's the new program. And is there anything else? Well, yeah, basically, I might pop in and out and add a few small streams here and there, like I did in the past. But this is the one that I will stick to starting tomorrow. So tomorrow will be our Tuesday Purescript stream. It will be the second of the week, but then we'll skip Wednesday and start again on Thursday. All right, let's see if the build worked. It looked like it probably did. Let's restart and let's check if console is happy. And it looks like it is. So let's start another localhost window here to test our network stuff. So you new connections is detected, so the browsers know that they exist, and they have a peer SOC to connect to. But now we want to actually send something and make sure that we can listen in also and receive data from the .on event that we have here. And before I do that, I realized that I changed my compression setting, and I think it's a little bit intense. So let me change this. Okay, yeah, I think that's better. The threshold for the limiter was really down, so now still limiter is pretty intense, but at least it doesn't pump as much. Okay, so what I try to do is to use the sock_write command to when using the send method, and I was hoping that this would actually just turn up as a data stream on the other end, but it didn't seem to work. So let's double check. So if I click A, then we see that we have an op, and then we do send sock, and then we have a socket there. And so then we have a payload, which is this array of op, and it means that we do write it. However, and then after that, we have more we're spying on the log value. So we go from the old value with the root array in it to the oh, that's strange. I didn't realize that 3 would be written like this. Right, so we do have 97, which is our A in there. But however, we see that we don't seem to receive anything on the other end. Oh, there is some sound outside. I was wondering what the music was doing. Oh yeah, pretty intense car horns honking there. Okay, so let's see if we can what could we try and do here? First of all, this sock is actually a peer. Is that which is readable and writable. So I think that that's the right thing, isn't it? Close event, data, signal. Yes, so let's see. We had some example of using socket code. So my assumption is that this is an actual, underneath, there is an actual net stream, a net socket. Which is, in this case, for instance, gotten from server on connection, which gets the socket. So let's double check that the Hyperswarm network that we're using actually return one of these sockets. And so yeah, it looks like the example is socket right. So you know what, like, that's a good idea, right? Let's also write hello world. And then well, unfortunately there's not the corresponding receive here that I can see. So is there send data to new peer, async socket, that's promesify, await client lookup, socket write test. All right, send data to client peer, NW peer versus client peer. Let's not pay attention to that for now. Await one sub update, send data bidirectionally between the NW and client. Okay. This once socket data that looks like it is something that would do on data, which is our read. So we're supposed to receive console log data. Do we start online? Oh no, we don't. So okay, so maybe that's the whole issue. I implemented a sort of poor man's online offline capability, and I kept it offline. Okay. So it does look like it doesn't receive yet. Oh well, what is this op? Oh yeah, no, that's the root op. I should remove this. It's from here. It's from this log there. We don't need to do that. It's confusing. And I think we can quiet down on the log of the spy of the log here. Actually, project log I think is the only thing we really need. And let's double check that that our value here is correct. Console log is online. And let's recompile Purescript. Okay, yeah, it's online true, and it's online true. So let's try and socket's not defined now. So how come? Oh, sock. I'm gonna make this mistake several times. So how about yeah, the thing is, how do I do this already? Yeah, I let sock up as error, and then I actually assign it here on connection. So I do need to have another name. So well, just be a bit more careful. Okay, and socket not ready. Interesting. Oh, okay. Right. Now I get the new connection, and then it's okay. Okay, so let's recompile and let's wait until we have the new connection message. There we go. We have the new connection message. So, okay. Oh, we seem to have received data. Okay, excellent. So the send does work. Let's check it out. This one of these sock writes worked. Whether it's only the second one or it's not clear, but looks like we have some error in the deserialization afterwards. So I didn't expect non-singleton array of op. I think that I wrote this message. Yeah, it's over there. So that's if I pass an array of op, that's just the wrong thing. So let's add a little bit of information here about what the error is by actually showing the ops. Okay. Encode type error. Cannot read property value 0 of undefined. Okay, so we are getting an undefined value, it looks like. So is that, let's see, I'm going to send this instead. And I think I might have to serialize it to JSON over the wire. I'm not sure why I would have to do that. Maybe a byte string. Could be that there's an implicit conversion if I send a string. In any case, we'll be able to recognize it, I believe. And we'll need to check our inputs in the JavaScript, I suppose. And no connection. Maybe my connection now. Yeah. Okay. So I'll send something and we get an error again. But we see that the data we receive is this AAA, and we don't receive anything before that. So the SockWrite payload just doesn't work for some reason, despite us having this this array to send. It just simply doesn't send it at all, which is strange. So let's see, how can we debug this? I suppose it's also possible for us to move the socket code to Purescript. But given that I'm not sure that I will reuse this SDOM code later, maybe it's not worth it. But it's good to know that we actually can send something. But this error is really strange. So let's try and stringify it. After all, we are not going to be so concerned right now with performance. Okay, and I'm going to also check out what it looks like when, well, I actually need to send it that way. Okay, and then, well, then there's a question about whether the callback, yeah, the callback does get called, so that we know. And then we'll need, however, to read the JSON, and I always forget what the reverse of or inverse of parse. Yeah. So JSON.parse data, and we'll send the same thing here. Definitely not efficient, but let's not worry about this for now. Still prototyping, huh? And what am I doing? I am checking this out, and we get the socket, and I press A, and okay, so we do get some JSON now on the other end, so progress, and however we can't oh wow, that's actually interesting. We failed to pattern match at New next. So we need to look up a little bit more on serialization, deserialization, passing values back and forth from JavaScript to Purescript. Something that I haven't looked at, but at least now we know that we are sending things, and I suppose that if I don't send this right, then we'll also not have all of the error, because I think that this unexpected token A comes from the sending the A. Okay, and then let's take a look at, first of all, let's copy that into our links. And close them. And then check out Purescript FFI serialization. Function and multiple arguments, encourage function, modern JavaScript syntax. Right, there we go. The following data types may be passed between Purescript and JavaScript as is. Array is fine. Record can be passed as an object, but beyond simple types, we want to add extra parameters to your FFI defined function to accept the function you need to call as arguments. Right. Define exceptions. Okay, so let's look a little bit closer to the because we can't do a simple type for this. This is a very elaborate type we're trying to send. I mean, it's not exactly true. In fact, we could think about how to serialize it properly. But that's also slightly beyond the prototype, but let me write this down though, because I think this is further work for the prototype in optimization. And also it's connected to the different run serialization format, and I think run T is one of those. And we want to see whether these converge as well. Serialization of ops. Okay. Array and record. I mean, if we could pass an array of objects or something like that, then I suppose it would work. Would it work actually? Not sure, but let's look at our ops type again. That's from the library, so let's go check it out. In types, I believe. An op is fairly simple. There's a lot of ways in which we could optimize this over the wire, but yeah, the fact that we haven't chosen a record here means that it's and I mean we'd have trouble for the maybe, but I think it would be a little bit better. Okay, let's look at what is said here beyond simple types. You have seen examples of how to send and receive types with native JavaScript representations, such as string, number, array, and record over FFI. Now we'll cover how to use some of the other types available in Purescript, like maybe. Suppose we wanted to recreate the head function on arrays by using a foreign declaration. In JavaScript, we might write the function as follows: export.head, takes the array, and return R0. However, there is a problem with this function. We might try to give it the type for a array A to A, but for empty arrays, this function returns undefined. Therefore, this function doesn't have the correct runtime representation. We can instead return a maybe value to handle this corner case. It's tempting to write the following: takes the array. If we have an array, then return just, using the data maybe just constructor directly from the Purescript library, or data maybe nothing. And not forget that you need to do a dot value here. And then have a data declaration or a foreign import declaration with array A to maybe A for this safe head. But calling this maybe constructor directly in the FFI code isn't recommended, as it makes the code brittle to changes in the code generator. Additionally, doing this can cause problems when using post-bundle for that code determination. The recommended approach is to add extra parameters to your FFI defined function to accept the function you need to call as arguments. I see. And by functions, we mean the constructor function for the data type. So we replace pass just and maybe, we pass just and nothing as functions. Well, in fact, well, just as a function and nothing as a term that we return directly. Right, so it means that what does it mean for us? Payload is going to be this JSON stringified thing. When we parsed it, then we back into well, Purescript data type in the JavaScript world. So in theory, when we pass it back, it should just work, but it doesn't. And I guess we should maybe try and look a little bit closer at why. Because it could be that it's another problem. For instance, we haven't yet implemented a different replica number for each of the browsers that we're opening up, and that's bound to come and bite us in the posterior later. So let's see whether actually that error is connected to it before we go more deeply into something, into other possible errors. Local Berlin is fine, but not where I want. And inspect. And let's do it again. Boom. Right, so we pass this value 1, 2, and it's failing a particular pattern match, which is in line 46 colon 17 of data chronofold core. So let's take a look at this. 4617. Yeah, new next upref. So that particular pattern match so we get to append up, but a up or the upref, which is inside the up, doesn't match neither nothing nor just, which is which is clearly an encoding problem. Or I didn't even look at more closely at this. Okay, so I suppose that this is from the first constructor. So that's our replica. Is that at the timestamp? Replica 1, timestamp 2, and then we have this maybe timestamp. No, sorry. Yeah, maybe timestamp, and that's in value 0. So I suppose that that's the just 1 1. It means it refers to the atom before, or the up just before, and then we have the code point. So this should be fine, but clearly there's something is lost in the serialization, deserialization. Let's, yeah, we do some. It knows that it's a timestamp here, but for some reason we can't send it as is over the wire. Okay, that's just a tiny bit tricky. Purescript, maybe there is a serialization library. Oh, we could use Argonaut. JSON manually. So Purescript for generics. Yeah, I suppose we could do something like. Oh well, actually, that might be. I think I tried this before, and this wasn't particularly easy. And there's another how to repo, and that's supposedly a very simple way to do things. So let's see what there's a 2 JSON string. And a from JSON string. So I suppose we could just, yeah, maybe it is simple. I mean, it looks simple from this code. So let's try. And this uses foreign generics. So that's foreign generic. I go install foreign generic. Okay. And then we derive the instances for up. So, oh, we already have a generic instance for up. So we can remove that guy, and then we can say it's not my record, it's up. And I think actually, oh yeah, we already have an instance, a generic instance for show right there. And so we just need a few more for is foreign and as foreign, and that should give us automatic JavaScript JSON serialization. Except we will need to import these things at least. And we need to Spago build for the ID to find them. Oh, no, of course. I installed it in the wrong folder. Is it remove or blah blah? Install. Okay, I think I need to do it manually. It's fine. That would be inspector.dal, and that would be that one. Okay, and we need to go back to Purescript chronofold, right, which is in libraries, and do a spago install. Hey, Countdoran. I'm good, thank you. Good to see you here. How about you? How are things in this Monday? Good, excellent. I like to hear that. Data foreign generic was not found. Well, that's strange. Yes. Well, you know, this is poised to become the new official Purescript package manager. So instead of package.json in the npm world, and then there was a phase where Purescript used Bower and then PSC packages. Now it's gone the sane way of DAL, and yeah, and I use even DAL at work. We use it for to configure our CI. In fact, we don't use it quite yet to do Kubernetes stuff, but that might happen. How about you? How do you use DAL? Maybe the class thing is in another package. Let's check the Bower thing. For a generics rep. No, that sounds strange. I think. Oh, when does it? Oh, 2017. Okay, yeah, these things have there's a chance that these things move around. Although foreign generic is 2 years ago. So that would be strange if it had actually moved, but it's also not impossible. So what do we have here? Oh no, I think it did change, didn't it? Okay, I need to take a look at the change log. Actually, as a compiler for your developers to create a JSON that define one of your interrogation tool. I hope you don't mean interrogation as in actual interrogation, right? You mean like query or something. That'll be pretty advanced interrogation technique. But that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I'm not surprised more people use it. I've heard what's his name? Gabriel integration. Got it. Yeah, but Gabriel Gonzalez speaking on this in this co-recursive podcast. That was pretty cool. That's a podcast that I've recommended before on this stream, and definitely recommend it again. Gabriel Gonzalez, came up with DAL, and yeah, it talks about open source and stuff. It's pretty good. And did you hear that Gabriel Gonzalez actually started streaming on Twitch? I think as part of the Awake Security channel, which is his place of work. And yeah, I haven't checked it out yet, but I haven't caught a stream yet. But you could build the entire client scenario in DAL without need to use an old UI of the app. Cool. Very cool. Yeah. I'm sure you could do things like even a static website generator in DAL. I'm sure you could do that. And that could be quite a fun project if nobody ever got into it. Yeah, so see decoding a CSV file using Haskell. I think that's Gabriel Gonzalez there. So definitely worth checking it out. Yeah, definitely. Some of these, Haskell masters, they have really good open source ethics, and yeah, when they're not burnt out, which sometimes happens. Okay, so I'm not even sure what I'm doing anymore. Module documentation, I think, is where I was going to check out. Oh, nice, excellent. Oh, that's really good to hear. I mean, it's really thanks to folks like that that yeah, the ecosystem moves forward. Have you seen his state of the Haskell ecosystem? That's such a great effort to you know, direct people in terms of what Haskell is good for and what it's not. You know, like it's best in class for compilers, but it's bad for systems or embedded programming. And this is a really nice effort with pointing to libraries as well that make you know, Haskell best in class for compiler. The reason is because there's all of these parsing libraries and stuff. So, and that's pretty regularly maintained, right? Last commit is 17 days ago, so it's become a pretty good resource for which library to use for any given particular problem. So, also highly recommended. And right, so yeah, sure thing. There you go. And it is nice, isn't it? Yeah, it's if you do some Haskell at work as well. And right. Those are the new names. And I thought I'd remembered something like that. And so let's see, encode and decode, yes. And so those are all in the foreign.generic module now, I think. So not the data, no more data, I think. And I think now class is encode and decode. And we need to figure out which is which. And I think there's a few other changes. F#, that's cool. Yeah, I guess F# is really the best for functional programmers that that have to do .NET. Huh? I remember seeing like a pretty cool educational effort from someone from the F# community that was explaining monads in terms of train tracks. And I thought that was pretty cool. Right. Hey, VB. Brings back memory. I must have done a bit of this in my life once. Although I think I'm probably trying to forget. Foreign generic was not found. Okay, so that's still... It did install though, right? Foreign generic did install. And so I guess I might need to... well, it did install, but there's no Spago definition for it. So how does this work? I need to go to Purescript and check this out. Let me go check it out. Oh, I think you might have mentioned this last time you were here. Yes. Right. Yeah, I think that's really awesome that you're contributing to the F# ecosystem this way with good stuff. I think there's a lot of great ideas that are a little bit locked into the kind of Haskell and Purescript world, and that definitely would be beneficial to make other people discover in other ecosystems. So that's really awesome. Oh, that's C#, yeah. You're not frightening people too much with your the monad nickname or keyword. Yeah, I think when you mentioned that, I talked about Beam, which is one of the libraries that I've been looking at for DB access in Haskell. And I think also I saw something in Reddit that was interesting, which is, where was it? Yeah, something about the fact that the new Esqueleto persistent persistent experimental package was something very recent and was actually sort of doing a number of good things in terms of the interface. Like moving from this interface to this interface and allowing tons of new things, including things that, to be honest, I didn't even know existed in SQL. Union with limits, so like set union over queries. That apparently wasn't supported in Esqueleto, but is supported in this experimental library. So something to check out. I think this is the sort of the best-in-class database DSL in Haskell these days. Yes, you're right. About Monad, that's right. You know about... actually, you know, in co-recursive, Bartosz Miluski also did an appearance. Totally worth also checking out this podcast. I'll put the link there. He talks about they talk about finding other vocabulary for, you know, functor, applicative, and monad, and they talk about the functor mappable, right? And mappable is not a, I think it's not a bad term. But yeah, good job bringing in monads into the C# world. Okay, so foreign generic. Yeah, did you enjoy it? I mean, you know, among Philip Freeman and good, yeah. Yeah, Phil Freeman, you know, who created Purescript, and Edward Kmet, who's like, you know, a real influencer in Haskell ecosystem, and Bartosz. Like, these people are definitely, to me, the masters in the ecosystem, the people who are really doing a lot to make the topic interesting and explain a lot of really deep and interesting stuff. So forever grateful for their work. Okay, foreign.generic should exist, and we should have version 10. I mean, we can double check that we have the right version. We have foreign generic. How do we even check which version we have? I don't know that we can, but I mean, I suppose we have 2020. Well, yeah, our package version is not so old. Let's see. I have attended BobConf here in Berlin, but no others. You know, Bartosz is actually talking to the Lambda Days, and he's doing a talk that mixes Factorio and functional programming, and that's online. So I've been considering attending Lambda Days, I think. Yeah. Kind of fun. He's been tweeting about this. He's basically started to implement applicatives, monads, and algebras in Factorio. I mean, come on, that's I love this. That's going to be so interesting. Makes me want to play Factorio as well. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So let's try and rebuild now that we've changed our imports. Foreign class, foreign generic. Okay, much better. You just can't read JSON from foreign class. That's because we haven't mapped all things. And so read JSON is now decode JSON. Write is now encode. And default option, we don't know. Read generic is now generic decode. And to foreign generic is now generic encode. Very good, very good. Okay, and decode JSON might not be in this library anymore, which would kind of make sense. Yes, so we gotta import straights. We just need now to get this thing straight. So read generic is now generic decode, and here generic encode, and then we need to change the types. Is foreign is decode, and as foreign is encode. Copy paste updates, and we should probably call this decode up to not be confused, and this would be encode up. And yes, and it's not read, it's decode, and it's not write, it's encode. And then we should be happy, right? Almost. We need an encode time class for one of the component types, which makes total sense, and so we shall do that. Timestamp, and we have a few instances already, and decode timestamp and encode timestamp, and that should be it, right? Except not, because we need one for replica. Is that right? The instance head contains unknown type variables. Oh, well, I haven't created a generic instance for this. Okay. And it's a type synonym. No, it's not type synonym, so it should be good. And it's not generic up, it's generic timestamp and timestamp. But still, oh, right, but it's, yeah, how will that work actually? Generic encode. Is it because of the option or what? Because here seems fine, but here not. Okay, let's do this for replica as well, and make sure that it's just not the error message that's confusing us, and do the same here. Okay, that was it, I think. Are we compiling? We still have an error. Where is it? Code point now. I see. Yes. Oh, but that's a problem because we're going to have an orphan instance. Generic. Oh, maybe there's a generic instance for code point. Purescript. And that's a query. So probably not. Let's start with the new things. And generic, yeah, no, that's, yeah. That's bad. Okay, so I think that if I do this, I will get shouted at for a orphan instance, won't I? I get shouted at for something else. Is not of the required form T blah blah blah, which is a type constructor defined in the same module. So yeah, it is a problem, and we are going to need to define. That's really less painful, but I guess that's just the way it is, right? There's no way around it. We need to either create a new type or just wrap it in some data constructor. And that means that we're going to have to, so probably, I think with new type, maybe we can make it work. But yeah, code point n. Now we just wrap into code point. That's not pleasant, but yeah, there's nothing else to do at this point. I think even in Haskell would be stuck. And then we need to break the world. Yeah, show would be nice to have too. And we'll want the new type one as well, right? This way we'll at least be able to suffer a little bit less. Oh, right, but we need to implement that now. We can't actually derive it. I don't know how to do that. Well, I think I can figure it out, but I think it's not going to be particularly pleasant again. I mean, I suppose code points are just byte strings, but it doesn't even really matter, does it? Yeah, I think I just need to implement encode and decode. So in fact, there is a way not to break my code if I accept to use. Yeah. Okay, I know what to do, indeed. Okay, so I don't have to wrap it. I just need to write encode of an op trv as well, I suppose I can choose, but I need to take a look at foreign generic here to understand. In fact, maybe just foreign, but let's take a look at foreign generic. Okay, we want, let's say, encode. I want to know what a product is decoded to. Encode class, generic encode, for generic encode. I need some instances basically. So where are there some instances here? So yeah, here we go. Okay, most of the things are just, well, let's decode and let's look at encode. Unsafe to foreign. I wouldn't mind that, but okay, what's encode with option? Generic decode, generic decode constructor. We want generic encode constructor. Except I don't really know how to read generic code in Purescript, but maybe I can guess. Array form. Do we put them in an array? I mean, we're going to have to write the decode anyway, right? So we could pretty much do whatever we want, but we want to do it in an idiomatic way. What I want to do here is find out how multi-argument constructor type gets generally encoded. I need some battery, apparently. And, okay, well. Yeah, give me a sec. Okay, and things are charging. So, and I'm going to charge myself with some liquid as well. Okay. Yeah, so idiomatic way to do a constructor, multi-argument constructor encoding. It looks like some kind of array, but that sounds weird, but maybe it kind of makes sense. Yeah, since we know how many it will be a little bit will be simple to do it that way for sure. And so we can do T and R that way, and then we can do our specific way for V and hopefully be happy. How will V be done? Well, in fact, V could be unsafe blah blah, and then we're happy, maybe. Unsafe to foreign. I mean, let's check what unsafe to foreign is, but I would surmise it's just like toString or something like that. We're supposed to export it, right? I mean, the library imports it from foreign. Okay, I know it's called unsafe, but I'll still trust it. And except that the reverse is read. Unsafe to foreign string and then read string. Yeah, so maybe it won't work. Maybe it won't work. Plus, decode is not going to be as simple because we're going to need to do the array decode, I think. Is that true? Yeah, indeed. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. It's going to be interesting. And I do need to import foreign. And maybe I will need to look into these various functions from foreign, including read array and all of this. So let's open up the documentation for this as well. Foreign. Unsafe to foreign. Oh, unsafe from foreign. Only to be used on primitive JavaScript types. Well, you know what, we can try. Because if there's an unsafe from foreign, then hey, that would be cheap. But yeah, let's make sure we import that, and then let's think about how we do read array. It takes a foreign and returns an f of array foreign. Okay, so maybe we can do, where are we? Right here. Let's see, how would that work? It would help to have some example. But we're in a monad here, and that's what also the generic code that we were looking at for read array looked like. I mean, we use the fish operator. And here we're in the decode monad. And read element is in the f monad. Okay, I need to see what this fish operator is like, because I thought that it was the... Oh, it's actually, let me try and guess. I think it's FA to MA to... oh yeah, it's the Kleisli composition. So it's M of... Is it M of A to B to M of B to C to M of A to C? Okay. It is Kleisli. Oh no, A to MB, B to MC, A to MC. Of course, yes. I knew that. And I almost knew it. And so we read the array first, and that gives us an f of array A. And I would think that would, oh yeah, and then read elements, actually, it's not an f map, it takes an array of foreign, which is return. No, sorry. Read element takes an array of foreign, it returns an f of array A, and then we pass array A to read element. Oh, but where is read elements? Oh yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, I'm confused here. I understand now. Read array gives us an f of array A, and then read elements take that. No, I'm still confused. Read array give us an f of array A. So, or is it an array foreign? Okay, read array. So why am I trying to guess? It takes a foreign and returns a f of array foreign. An f of array foreign, and then read element takes the array foreign. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so we do what? Read array, and that's an f of array foreign. And so then what we want is sort of pattern match, in fact. I think we can pattern match on TRV here using the array pattern matching, and then sort of, you know, doing a well, f has a decode error, like it's its own error monad. I think f in fact is defined by the errors it can return, I think. Yep, exactly, except multiple errors. So how do we generate errors like this? Fail. It takes a foreign error. Okay, so fail. And how do we build a foreign error? Can we just use the constructor? That'd be nice. Then we can import, where is it? data.foreign error in data.foreign. Oh, we have it. And the constructors too. Excellent. So let's just say, yeah, foreign error. Couldn't decode up. And because we're nice, we can pass. Well, we won't be able to show anything, so let's not be nice for now. Let's just try and be try and make things work first. Okay. What's that? Cannot match record with function timestamp. Yes, maybe because you need this. No. Because generic encode takes this record and an A and returns a foreign, which is what we want. But oh, right, okay. Yeah. This is what we want. And array foreign with type foreign. Yeah, because I think then we need to do something with this. Which will be probably the similar type of thing that happens in the encoding of, well, maybe the encoding of arrays, in fact. Let's look at what encoding of arrays look like. Map encode. Well, no, but no. It's not really what we're doing. Well, yeah, we want to create a foreign that's kind of like an array, and we used arrays because it seemed that maybe arguments were building an array, but then we need to transform the array foreign into a foreign. And this is also, we just do an unsafe foreign. Is encode returning? No, it's returning a foreign. It needs to always be able to encode it. Unwrap single constructor, there may be unsafe foreign. There's nothing, otherwise unsafe to foreign. I think it's unsafe to foreign. Yep. And then here we don't generate the code. We do something to tr. All right, how does this work? Then I need to do the generic decode kind of thing. Oh, right, then I do need to know my generics in order to do this, I think. If unwrap single constructors, then constructor and read arguments. And what's read arguments? Case number of args. It's either a write one or write n. Then we do read array, which is what we're doing here. And then decode args, which is what? Where is decode args? It's from generic. Takes the options list, this one, and then return result, rest, and next. I see. It's not easy. not far from it though. The problem is, oh, right. Well, actually, no, yeah, I got it. Up of generic encode decode, I mean, blah T, and same for R, and then unsafe from foreign V. Unwrap single constructors, boolean, foreign, returning except T, non-empty, foreign error identity T0. And decode returns, yeah, it must be a hello, decode, class decode must be simply foreign A to A, no? Foreign to FA. Aha, right. Oh, right. So aren't you showing me this? No, here. This except T non-empty list for an error. That's F, isn't it? Because that would be except T under the hood. Identities come from that, the bottom of the stack, and then non-empty list for an error is this. So yes, it is F. And so what's the issue? Oh, right. Well, the issue is that we need to actually deal with the error here before we return. And so how do we deal with it? So if decode, well, decode, yeah, no, it is an FA. So, oh, yeah, I can't just wrap it in an up and call it done, I suppose. Oh, do I just need to fmap it? Oh, that'd be grand. Somehow I doubt that that's going to work, but come on, why isn't there a prelude option here? This is in the prelude. So is it applicative style, where actually I need to map up to a function of several arguments? So and that means I need to import this. This time I can import it from prelude. Oh, I'm quite proud of myself, I gotta say, for this. Oh, and 9:30 exactly. Well, so what do we have? Did we gain a serializable op? And if this builds, then the answer is yes. And then we can then, yes. And so it means that then in our Purescript code now, before sending over the wire, we can actually, instead of sending an array of op, we can send now a foreign, and then send, I mean, we listen to a foreign, and send will send a foreign, and then we'll encode ops before sending them, and decode ops when we receive them, and we'll import foreign generic, and we'll install foreign generic, which I think is the thing that I undid earlier. Browser chronofold and spago install foreign generic. Oh, it is installed. It just needs to be built, I suppose, with the correct spelling. Fair to build. Decode returns an FA because we need to case on it such that if it's left A, we need to do something, and if it's right B, we return the B. And I think we unsafe throw here. Oh, yes. Right, there is a pattern for this. I think it must be inside the library somewhere. Probably in the decode, and is it numargs? Unless it's in the decode case, right? Decode map accept. Okay, let's look at accept. To E prime, no. Run accept, okay. And we import this. And this is a foreigner. Yeah, no, it's not a foreign error, it's just an error. Whoopsie. And we need to import errors from, effect exceptions. Is that going to type check? I'm not even sure. And I'm not even sure that that's really the proper pattern here, but no, it's supposed, it will type check because it's just an A. Okay, I must have imported the wrong thing. Control error, effect.exception. That's where it should be. So did I import another error with a mistake? I don't see it. So what's the issue there? Unknown data construct. Oh, yes, of course. How's that? Well, that's not where the data constructor lives, visibly. So oh, yeah, of course. There's no that's the way. And what's up? Yes, indeed. We send encoded ops. and we probably need to change the type of receive. Is that right? No. Oh yeah, but hold on, receive is in line, right? Yeah, it's in line. And it's just that it now receives. Yeah. So how does this work? Yeah, it's the same as listen, isn't it? Listen with receive ops. Are we using listen? Hold on. No, we only using listen underscore these days. Yeah. So, okay, let's double check that. And then listen underscores takes an array up. No, that's not right. It takes a foreign, yeah. And therefore receive should receive the callback. It's going to be called with foreign. Yeah, it is. And we'll just need to encode these ops. Decode these ops. Oh, right. We need to do the decode dance here. So that's an F, and then, well, then we'll let ops be something, which is going to be the same as we've done in listen up there. Yeah, this thing. Except it's not let, it's where. And right, this is F. Haha. Compiles. It looks a bit in limbo. Definitely limbo. Reload. Reload. Tap A. Socket wasn't ready. Okay. Let's reload again. It looks ready to me now. Oh, we still do the JSON stringify, which we shouldn't anymore. In our... I mean, yeah, no, in theory, we shouldn't have to do that anymore. When we send it, the payload now is this thing that looks nice and concise as we would want it. And so it's fine to JSON stringify it, but we are not going to do that. We'll just now accept that it's JSON. And then we'll hope that when we get it on the other side, we actually don't have to parse it anymore. That was the goal of this, and we shall see whether we've accomplished it shortly. And then we will disconnect and say goodbye and until tomorrow. And let's see whether we finish with we finish with mixed success, I would say, because we don't have an error, but it seems like it's been swallowed. So fortunately, that's a little bit too close to not working, and actually typing a second time seems to be causing an error. Okay. And same for here. Okay, so it could be that this is not connected to the network layer anymore, but that in fact this is because of the. I mean, we need to check our serialization, deserialization code. Really, we should have a test in Chronofold actually doing that. So let me write that. Where are we? Prototype. Broadcast up to a swarm, just taking side effect. We've done that. Connect to client server. Okay. So we're in this subtask and test write encode decode test in Purescript Chronofold and oh, there was serialization there. So we've done that. And we have converted socket streams into events. And we actually used another way to solve this problem. We actually hacked the Purescript SDOM library to allow state to affect state hook, and so we now have we can now use state in side effects in SDOM thanks to that. So that's done, and we sort of connected the SDOM event API to the FFI, but we do have an error. So I suppose that maybe we can say that this is not done. So we're almost done with broadcasting the up to the swarm, but we just need to solve one of the things that we know we need to do is assign a replica ID to a unique to browser instances. Okay, because that's a potential problem, but it's clearly it's not the one that makes us fail. There's something else going on there. The fact that we don't see any payload coming in is a little bit worrying. So that's probably what we'll start with. In theory, we should see the data here. So it could be that we do need to serialize it to actually stringify it when we pass it, but that is really strange. I think maybe it's because of the encoding. Yeah, there's a few things we'll need to work out, but this network layer is not exactly working how we want it to be. And serialization, well, we need to test our serialization as well. All right, so that's it for me today. Thank you so much for following. I will see you tomorrow. And then, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I will stream a little bit less from now on. And hopefully that will raise the quality of the streams and that will make me more balanced and happy individual, and I hope that you guys are also balanced and happy. So see you soon, and bye bye.